stage. It is our pleasure to welcome you to our 2019 spring concert.
Please join me now in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the song America. Salute. You may be seated.
Before we begin, we will receive greetings from our school principal, Miss Carol Keelness. Miss Keelness, please. On behalf of the students, faculty, and staff of Traphagen, we welcome you to our school. Today we are proud to celebrate spring with music, song, and a fairy tale that celebrates kindness, patience, and acceptance.
Each year, people all over the world celebrate family, friends, and culture. They often focus on how to bring more peace, more hope, and more acceptance into their lives.
Each of us can do this in many ways with our own family and friends. But no matter how we do this, we have one thing in common, and that thing is respect.
At Traphagen, we practice being respectful to our teachers, our staff, and our friends. We strive to be respectful in how we do our work, how we learn, and how we treat each other. When we have respect for someone else and their culture, we can expect good things to happen.
As you listen to our Traphagen students today, let's think about the ways we have grown over this past school year. Focusing on and respecting what we have accomplished, our growth and our culture can make all the difference.
The first group to perform is our third grade beginning recorder ensemble. Let's welcome them to the stage and begin our program.
is our after-school intergenerational choir. They will share some of their most favorite songs with us.
And then we're going to sing another song that explains why we love to sing.
Good afternoon, everyone. We'll try that again, because that did not sound enthusiastic enough. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. All right. I would like you to raise your hand if you went to the Superintendent Reading Challenge celebration last night. Everybody, maybe you should just stand up. Everyone stand up who went. Look at that. That is truly amazing. I would like you to give yourselves a clap. Okay, you can sit down. Thank you. All right, I'm waiting. Thank you. I don't think we can forget that we have parents who helped us with that. And I know we have a few parents in the back. So I'd just like you to turn around at children. I want children to turn around and just give a clap to the parents to say thank you for coming. And thank you for all the work you've done working with our children and hearing them read. Okay, everyone, sit down. And I need you to face this way. So look at Mrs. Jean, and I'm over here. All eyes need to be on me. All right. So, one of the things that there were at the event where there was a carnival. For those who didn't go, there was a carnival. There were different rides. There was food, lots of different fairground food. There was men on stilts. There were people who were doing magic acts. And there was a band. There was music. There was dancing. And everybody had a wonderful time. Now, we are all hoping that next year, every single one of you will be able to make it to the Superintendent Reading Challenge. We want to see every single one of you there, because we hope that you all will have read the books that you need to read to meet the challenge. Now, this summer, we're going to be kick-starting that reading challenge. In the summer, you're going to have a summer packet. And that summer reading packet will have a book or books in it. Now those books will count as double the number of books that they would normally be. So whatever it is, it would be double. So please make sure, I'm going to ask parents too, please make sure that you read with your children and that they read to you, because it is huge in their development, absolutely huge. So I'm going to ask all the children to stand up. Put your hand on your heart. Hand on your heart. Everyone stand. I promise, what do you that I am going to read over the summer. And I am going to have a good time. All right, well done. You've all promised. Come and sit down. All right, thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so now we have our last act, a story just for you. Raise your hand if you know the story of Cinderella. Yeah, okay. Hands down.
Cinderella. Good afternoon. My name is Corellis Sands. I come from the land of the pharaohs, Egypt. Today, you will enjoy the Egyptian version of Cinderella.
This is the story of a slave girl, beautiful Rodolphus. Cinderella story. Here is the story. Long ago, where the green Nile River widens to meet the blue sea, there lived a maiden called Rodolphus. When she was still a small child, Rodolphus had been stolen by pirates. She was snatched from her home in Greece, taken across the sea to Egypt, and there sold as a slave. Like the Egyptian servant girls, Rodolphus went to the water's edge each day to wash clothes and to gather the reeds that grew on the riverbank. But Rodolphus looked different from Egyptian girls. Their eyes were brown, but hers were green.
Their hair hung straight to their shoulders, while the breeze blew hers into tangles.
Their skin glowed like copper, but her pale skin burned red beneath the sun. That was how she got her name, for Rodolphus meant rosy-cheeked in Greek.
Rosie Rodolphus, Rosie Rodolphus, Rosie Rodolphus.
They taunted her, hissing her name between their teeth, but Rodolphus pretended not to hear.
Although her master was kind, he was old. He often liked to doze beneath the fig tree. He seldom heard the servant girls teasing Rodolphus. He never saw them ordering her about. Hurry up, Rodolphus, they would shout at her. The geese are in the garden, eating up the onions.
Mend my robe!
I'm hungry, Rodolphus. Bake me some bread, now.
Rodolphus always hurried to do their bidding, for the Egyptian girls were household servants, and she was only a slave. Rodolphus found friends among the animals. All kinds of animals befriended her. Rodolphus trained a monkey to stay by her side.
She even made friends with hippopotamus. The hippo would climb up on the riverbank and watch her dance. Rodolphus loved to charm her with her beautiful dancing. Every so often, the hippo would raise its huge head from the muddy water and prick its small ears to listen. Even birds ate crumbs from her hands.
her dance.
My, how flexible and graceful,
her master said.
No goddess can dance more beautifully. Such a talent deserves a reward.
Her master noticed Rhodopis had no shoes. Thoughtfully, her master tugged his chin whiskers and then declared,
Rhodopis, you shall go barefoot no longer.
Her master ordered a pair of dainty slippers, made especially for Rhodopis. The soles were of real leather, and the toes were gilded with rose-red gold. Now when Rhodopis danced, her feet would sparkle like fireflies.
One evening, Kipa, who was the chief servant girl, announced,
Tomorrow, we sail for Memphis to see the Pharaoh. His Majesty is going to hold court for all his subjects.
there'll be musicians and feasting, and there most certainly will be feasting.
Ah, but poor Rhodopis, you have to stay behind. You have linen to wash, grain to grind, and the garden to weed. The next morning, just as Ra the sun was climbing into the sky, Rhodopis followed the servant girls to the riverbank and hid behind the bushes.
How beautiful they dressed. Kipa wore a necklace of blue beads, and bracelets jingled on the wrist of the second. The third servant girl had tied a many-colored sash about her waist. They all admired each other's fancy clothing.
Come now, let us get our sailing poles.
Kipa told the others as she led them the way.
When the servant girls left to get their sailing poles, Rhodopis came out of hiding. On her feet were those rose-red slippers, sparkling in the sunlight. Perhaps they will let me come along to see the Pharaoh after all, she thought, as she ran to hide in the bushes again. But when the four servant girls returned to the river, they pulled their raft around the bend without giving Rhodopis a backward glance.
And turned to the basket piled high with dirty clothes.
Wash the linen, weed the garden, grind the grain. Wash the linen, weed the garden, grind the grain. Wash the linen, weed the garden, grind the grain.
She chanted as she worked.
Wash the linen, weed the garden, grind the grain. The hippopotamus was so annoyed with hearing her chant that he pushed up from the reeds and splashed mud onto Rhodopis and her slippers. Shame!
Scolded Rhodopis.
You splattered mud on my beautiful slippers!
Rhodopis turned back to washing. Then suddenly, a shadow fell upon the water.
A great falcon, the symbol of the god Horus, circled in the sky with wings spread so wide that they blocked out the sun. Greetings to you, proud Horus.
far away. Dangling from one of his talons was one of her beautiful slippers. "Stop! Stop!" she pleaded. "Come back!" But the bird did not heed her. He flew toward the sun until he was no more, no bigger than a dark speck against the golden sky.
Rhodopis bit her tongue and looked down at her only slipper left. One shoe was worse than none at all, she thought. Now she'd have to dance like a stork, hopping about on one foot, and even the monkey would laugh.
Rhodopis tucked the slipper into her tunic and returned to her laundry, salting the river with her tears. The pharaoh's name was Amasis. On his head, he wore the red and white crown of the two Egypts. The double crown was heavy and pinched his ears. He preferred driving his chariot fast as the wind to sitting on the throne. Amasis yawned. Finally, he called for his royal dancers. saw the falcon wheeling overhead.
The god of horror sends me a sign.
Exclaimed the pharaoh. Amasis picked up the rose-red slipper and stood.
Every maiden in Egypt must try this shoe. She whose foot it fits shall be my queen. This is the will of the gods.
Amasis dismissed the court, called for his chariot, and began his search at once. When the Egyptian servant girls arrived in Memphis, they found the throne empty and the palace deserted.
They were angry that they missed the festival. When they returned home, even seeing Rhodopis without her rose-red slipper did not please them.
Slaves are better off barefoot anyway, snapped one of the servant girls.
The pharaoh journeyed to distant cities.
He tracked the desert where pyramids tower over the sand.
He climbed the steep cliffs where falcons nest.
The rose-red slipper was always in his hand.
Whenever he went, women and girls, rich or poor,
Flocked to try on the slipper.
but none could fit into small shoe.
He vowed to visit every landing along the Nile.
The longer Amasis searched, the more determined he became.
He was sure he would marry the maiden who had lost the tiny slipper.
Trumpets blared and oarsmen rode to the beat of gongs. The din was so dreadful that when the barge rounded in the bend of the river, Rhodopis fled in alarm. But the servant girls ran to the water's edge.
Now we will see the pharaoh.
Cried Keepa. Amasis held up the rose-red slipper.
Whoever can wear this shoe shall be my queen.
The servant girls knew that shoe. They knew its owner too. Yet they clapped their hands over their mouths and said nothing. If one of them could wear it, well, why shouldn't they have that chance? First Keepa, then the others tried to put on the slipper. Each cramped her foot and curled her toes and squeezed until tears ran down her cheeks. Still, her heel hung over.
Enough!
Said Amasis wearily. He would have set sail again had he not chanced to see Rhodopis peering through the bushes.
Come,
He commanded.
you must try this rose-red slipper.
The servant girls gawked open-mouthed as the pharaoh kneeled before Rhodopis. He slipped the tiny shoe on her foot with ease. Then Rhodopis pulled its mate from the folds of her tunic.
Behold,
Cried Amasis.
in all this land there is none so fit to be queen.
But Rhodopis is a slave.
Protested one of the servant girls.
She's not even Egyptian.
Snaps Keepa. But the pharaoh declared,
She is the most Egyptian of all, for her eyes are as green as the Nile, her hair as feathery as papyrus, and her skin the pink of a lotus flower.
With that, the pharaoh led Rhodopis to the royal barge. And with every step, her rose-red slippers winked and sparkled in the sun.
Have a great weekend, Traphagen.